Thank you very much.
Now, our last part of our program transitioned to Maysoon Zayed, who's a comedian. And she is one of the first Muslim American comedians, and she is a female. And she really just blew away the audience as she kind of tiptoed around issues that were very much at the heart of our politics and policies, but was able to provide a forum to laugh about these issues, to poke fun at them, and to really preach beyond the choir with her initiative and her outreach. And that's exactly what the title of that portion of our segment was, which preaching beyond the choir. And so how do you engage, again, non-traditional stakeholders and non-traditional people into these discussions of politics, international affairs, and comedy is a great way of doing so.
I'm a Palestinian, born and raised in Cliffside Park, New Jersey. When I became a comedian, I never became a comedian because I was like, I'm going to prove to the world that Arabs aren't terrorists. I'm going to prove to the world that disabled people can do it. But what I realized as a comedian was that I had no choice but to carry those messages. Because as an Arab Muslim woman, quite often in my comedy shows, people come up to me and say, I've never met a Muslim. I've never spoken to a Muslim woman. I've never met an Arab girl.
How? How do they know that you're an Arab? And I will tell you how. I have the kind of facial hair no waxing in the world can deal with. I was selected to represent the great state of New Jersey at the Democratic National Convention. Yeah, I was so excited, right? It's cool. I was like, yay, history in the making. And she called me up and she said, oh my gosh, Maysoon, we are so excited to have you. You actually fill every single quota.
Whether I liked it or not, I was an ambassador. I was a missionary. I was someone who was coming out and saying like, hey, listen, we are from the fabric of the American society. And like any other ethnicity, whether you're Italian American, Chinese American, we all come in different shades and colors, but the differences aren't really that deep. When you look at it, we have the same story. With the disabled community, it's been an incredible journey for me because growing up with a disability is very difficult. And one of the first things I think a lot of us do is pretend there's nothing wrong with me.
A lot of people think that being disabled is a bad thing. And it's not. It's not a bad thing. You want to know why? Because I get handicap parking. And you know you have been in the rain, driving around, looking for parking, and you see that handicapped space, and you just go, God, couldn't I just be deaf?
Embracing the disabled side of my personality and seeing the reaction I get from the community has been incredibly, incredibly empowering. I want to be there for this generation of young disabled kids to look up and say, hey, she did it. I can do it. It's okay. I was the first Arab American to perform in the Middle East. I was also the first female to perform in the Middle East stand-up comedy. And when I went to the Middle East, I was terrified. I was terrified. I was like, they're not going to know what I'm talking about. They're not going to laugh. Boy, do these people laugh. I have to say my Middle Eastern audiences laugh even more than my American audiences because A, they've had less comedy. So everything to them is new, everything is fresh, everything is revolutionary. And also B, Arabs are really, really loud. We speak loud, we laugh loud. So the laughs are just through the roof when you do stuff in the Arab world. But I've never gotten a better reception than when I did my show in Arabic in Jordan. And that was the first time in my life I had gotten a standing ovation.
What I did was I took my American passport and I framed it in a nice big gold frame, and I walked through the middle of the refugee camp saying, you want a visa, baby?
It's really important that when I go to the Middle East, we also teach workshops. We teach the local population how to perform, how to write jokes, how to express themselves. And it's been an amazing journey because when we first went, no one knew what stand-up was. Now when we go, we have great little comics coming in workshops to actually work their material. Comedy is a really powerful, non-violent voice. Comedians get to say what other people don't. Jon Stewart gets to report news we don't see other places because he's a comic. And I think the kids see that this is a great voice. And I think the parents are supporting them, which is something that really shocked me because they're proud of what we, the Arab American comedians, have achieved.
Now it's my turn. And I'm kind of excited to have the wedding now that it's my turn, because what I decided is, instead of throwing the bouquet over my shoulder, I'm actually going to turn around and just whip it straight forward. Because although I have cerebral palsy and I'm not good at catching, I'm a Palestinian and I'm really good at throwing things.
I feel like when we in America talk about empowerment, you have to empower women in order to empower the world. If you empower women, you're empowering mothers. Mothers are raising sons who will either drag us into war or keep us out of war. Mothers are the ones who are protecting their daughters. Mothers run and rule this world. And if we're not empowering women, we're not going to change this 40 to 50% generation that's under 30. Also, I can't help but call out hypocrisy. The condition of women in Iraq has decreased astoundingly since we brought them democracy. Women were educated, they were doctors, they were lawyers, and now extremism is taking over. They're being forced into roles they don't appreciate, and I think that they failed miserably at that. So, you know, I would just say to President Obama, what you tried in Cairo was a great start, but if you don't look at the whole picture and realize the role of women, it will never go anywhere.
Victor, what are the tangible results from this event, and what are the next steps?
I think the first thing that we must emphasize is the success of this event was a community coming together. And this is something we fundamentally believe in, that given a vision, given good leadership, that our community can work together and do great things. Afterwards, we've been connected with a lot of organizations. We're talking to them about partnerships. Again, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. Our work will be done with partners that are already doing good work in the community. And secondly, we need funding. We're looking for people to help donate. Of course, the big corporate checks are wonderful. We made a strategic decision not to take any kind of government funding for our programs. But more importantly, we want people to get engaged. So next, we're going to host a summit in October and bring together the same partners and some of the new people to the table to discuss how we can move forward. And in 2011, we'll launch first phase, which will be placing people in the Middle East. And that's a big endeavor, a big project that needs a lot of people to help us.
So for people who are interested, where can they go for more information?
For information, they should go to our website. It's www.arabempowerment.org.
Hazami, as we wrap up, very succinctly, what makes your organization different?
We are different. In doing our research, we have not really found any platforms that are A, as large, and B, as interconnected as our initiative aims to be. And even the concept of empowerment as it relates to the Arab community does not exist in the sense that it does in the Western context. And what we're trying to do is to create this, to create a change, an ideological and paradigm shift in our community that really refocuses our energies. So again, it's not the creating professional avenues necessarily, but what it's doing is encouraging people to kind of reinvest and change the direction of their professional careers, whether it's for a short duration of time or whether it's for a longer duration of time. But it's to really create a new civically, culturally engaged community that is also conscious, very conscious to the situations, but then also personally very conscious and feels that they need to recontribute. So it's more of an ideological shift and a paradigm shift in addition to being an organization that actually has tangible outcomes. So the results and the abilities of what we're able to accomplish really rely on individual people actually wanting to be a part of this program and process. It's not just going to be a one-time you go and you invest and you leave, but it's going to build something. It's going to rebuild us in the society. It's going to rebuild a community that is conscious to the issues in the community.
Hazami Barmada and Victor Shibli, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for watching.